can't follow along on voice can read along. So 1 second.
Remind me to code a transcript already.
Juniper, did I say I was going to be the voice? I'll be the voice.
We hadn't figured it out yet, and I was putting in the text, so you can get started. I can stenographer today.
Okay. Well, we have released various bug fixes with Marketplace Responsive Search. I don't know if those of you all that were here last time remember, but let's not repeat history, because as we were leaving web user group last month, we had a major marketplace outage. And that ended up tripping a whole bunch of other little landmines in marketplace. I am really proud of the team for how they've handled it. I know that it has been kind of a pain for all of our merchants, and I am really sorry about that. Oh, good. So yeah, so we've had some product listing enhancement problems that we are in the process of fixing. We think we're pretty close to fixes for all of those things. Some people were mistakenly charged multiple times for product listing enhancements, and the big chunk of that happened during the outage, we believe we refunded. And we, if you still feel like your product listing enhancements have been overcharging you, please put in a support ticket so that we can get you taken care of, but we think we're pretty much caught up. We have released various cleanup tickets around the support web pages, land, and region store. And then the character AI was spun down. It was a very useful learning experience for us, but we want to, we've got a limited number of staff members. The community doesn't seem super enthused about in-world AI, and we'd like to focus on the core offerings. Like, that makes sense to me. Speaking of focusing on core offerings, the land team worked really hard to help people who were still in V1 Linden homes move out to more modern Linden homes. And V1 Linden homes had a web page control panel that we were able to take offline as well, which means that it is something that we don't have to have mental overhead about anymore, which is great. Got that archived. And then P0 has got a couple of updates. They are launching something called Freebie Island, which I believe is basically just the stuff that's in the library already, but it's out and rezzed and visible so that people can see what they've got. And they've also recently launched P0 as a progressive web app, so people that are in the P0 cohort can install it as something that looks like a desktop app. Kermit, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to do any future-looking things?
I can tease a little bit is that we are looking at definitely looking at index and looking at a couple different ways to balance out sources and sinks and have some exciting news that we'll announce by the end of the month. Probably around you know, some new feature that should help balance things out and provide a little bit more stability in the economy. So we'll tease that for a little bit, and we'll have marketing materials and things out in the next few weeks.
Intriguing. I'll answer in chat as well. Sarah asked, are the V1 Linden homes being put into the library folder for use in V2 Linden homes? No. V1 Linden homes are going away. But you say that they should. I know that like we have a lot of nostalgia on Second Life, and nobody wants old things to go away. But there is a lot of maintenance burden for just a small number of people. I guess merchants probably know that as well as we do. No, it's done, Sassy. It's V1 is totally done. They got in touch with all of the holdouts and hand moved them over into new spiffy things. Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm just imagining Patch in a muscle shirt turning up and banging on people's doors. Get out!
Time to move.
Linden removalists team, that would be so funny.
Do y'all have any other questions about any other? Sarah, your complaints are noted.
If I may slide in with a question regarding the spun down of character AI. You said it was spun down due to a decrease in interest in AI in world, correct?
Well, it was spun down because of a lack of people to keep it running, and because it wasn't super, like I think the usage numbers were not super high either.
Right, okay. By chance, could you share some insight in what would be some positives and some negatives throughout the character AI projects? As I'm trying to develop some AI things myself for in-world usage, and you know, if I could get some positives or some negatives, some kind of insight on what people liked and what they may not have liked by chance.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. Eric pointed out that it's a little bit because Darcy left. So one of the people that learned a lot of things was Darcy, and he left. From time spent on Canny and at these user groups, Sarah's point about a loud number of Second Lifers not wanting AI on the platform is definitely a negative for running these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, you can look at the news for things you need to be careful about with chatbots. Being able to really put them on rails if you want a character bot and make sure that they are not going to jump their context or their sandboxes when people talk to them for a long time is pretty important.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, if all it was getting them to say skibbity toilet hexapod, I would be actually quite happy.
I found it very strange that the AI that you created yourself from your own account and talked to in IM then talk to somebody else that you knew that mentioned you, and your AI would say, I don't know her. And I got very upset. It's like, how is this happening? We're in IM together. Like, it was just a very weird sort of outcome, and I sort of went meh and closed it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely an interesting point. Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
think there's a useful use for them. We did have one at the Welcome Hub for a while, and I quizzed her on some SL history, and she got things right all the time. It was good for 24-hour coverage.
Eric, what would be your I like your joke, but it leads me to, and I know this isn't really the user group for it, but what would be your top additional feature in Second Life chat?
Oh God,
Would GIF
mine?
support be the top? Yeah.
I think I've said this elsewhere. I don't know if I've actually put a canny post together for it, although I probably should. I think I'm trying to think. There's two, and I can only think of one, but I know I've thought of both. What is it? Well, okay. Basically, I think it would be having an unread indicator, because like with Discord, even if I am days or even longer behind on, Discord server chat, I can go back and I can pretty much fairly easily find out where I left off if I actually want to read up to where I left off. The last time I checked that group chat. You can't really do that with SL group chat. Like you can actually manually scroll up a tiny little bit, and then when you go back to that window, then it won't have moved down. At least that's how it works in Firestorm. But if we had something in SL conversations interface where you tab away from an IM or a group chat especially, and if there's been a lot more chatter in that group chat, then have that Discord-like horizontal line showing, okay, this is where, below this line is all the group chat that has appeared since you last looked in that window. So for me, that would make, I think, group chat a lot more helpful, and maybe reduce a little bit of the exodus of people who go to places like Discord, because group chat, is kind of hard to keep track of for many reasons, but I think that's one of the things that might help. That, and also being able to organize, maybe have a preference where, IMs would be visually separate in the tab interface on the left from group chat, because sometimes I want to be able to know if someone has IM'd me and respond to them, but I don't really care if I, check group chat a little bit later. So right now it's kind of a little bit hard to prioritize. That was two things, but that's
No,
yeah.
I'm curious. Sarah, what do you mean English spelling translations? Oh, like okay. Anglicized. Okay. Okay. So, Juniper had an open question for us before we get back to y'all's questions.
Yeah, let me scroll up. So my general question was, instead of the normal, if you could have something, it was if you could remove like a feature or a functionality or something from Marketplace that you think is clumsy or you hate it, what would it be? And as tempting as it is, don't bring up the outages, because I think we all want those gone too. But I'm just kind of interested to know, like, if you could cut the fat or like something that you like hated. What is it?
Of which section of the marketplace? Sorry, I missed something there.
Any section of the marketplace.
Oh, I've got a few. The first one would be that you've done something to because I've missed a few meetings. You've done something to the what's it called? The parts where they pay money for the featuring. At the top, the scroll bar thing. Here, I took a Gyazo so I can explain myself better. It's barely noticeable that those top pieces are highlighted now. It used to be very obvious. Now it's less obvious that I didn't know why I was getting really
the product
old
listing
sort
enhancements aren't.
Yeah. It's very wishy-washy in with everything else now. So I was sort of like, wait, why am I seeing makeup from 2009 at the top? Is my search wrong? And then I realized, oh no, you've taken away the borders or something.
It would be nice if it was a little more distinct. Maybe a darker shade of blue as the background or something.
Well, it used to have a frame or something around it more. Yeah, there you go. A carousel. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Rocky. But it was very much an obvious separate thing. They have paid for this feature. This is more, you want to achieve this area of something, monetary claim.
That's very interesting. I can't promise anything, but we will definitely take that feedback to the designers.
And the other thing was the fact, and I'm not sure if it's the 1L thing, but the fact that your best-selling items are items that are being tricked by discounting them and then putting them back to regular price, and then they get to be in the best-selling items for a week. I don't think that should be allowed somehow. I feel like if you change the price, you just don't get in there.
Could you explain that more?
Okay, so the section where it's the best-selling items on the bottom left, you click it and you get like the order of the best-selling products of the past week. I look at that all the time as part of my job for different brands, so I check to make sure where they've sort of fallen and what sort of items have come through, things like that. So what happens is people either do a gift for 1L because everybody thinks that that's just because of demos and gifting. It's actually to market that section too. It puts them in that category. But also the ones that are doing marketplace specials, like reducing something to 75 Linden or 50 Linden for a day or 2 days. They're then I bought a pair of shoes during the weekend sale for 75 Linden, and they're in the best-selling items now for 369 Linden. That's kind of falsely telling the public that this is a very popular item, and I don't know. It just sort of seems a bit meh.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about how you would get around that, unless you like gave the person looking at it like a metric. Like,
we could probably reset best selling for a product if the price changed or if significant pieces of the product listing changed.
Sure. Yeah.
And 1L items that are saying they're a gift just shouldn't be there. they just shouldn't be there at all. Because then it just completely throws all the people that have legitimately sold because they've done good work and they're a popular product to the bottom of the page. And that's kind of not really good data.
So what if, like, I know 1L is kind of a default one, but would it make sense to be like, items that are maybe 10L 15 on higher or something like that? Like, what would be?
I guess 100. 100 would be the cutoff. But I guess if they've changed at all in that calendar week, if they've changed their pricing, they just should be disqualified from reaching best-selling.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because if you look at
them.
it as much as I look at it, then what happens is you've got some brands that just play that game. They will reduce something every other day and get their customers to flood the thing, and so they're always on page 1 of best-selling items, but their item prices are back to 300, 280, blah blah blah, and it's gaming, gaming the system.
Is it the case that people will buy a product if it's
Yes.
cheaper, even if it's just not good?
Oh, well, yeah, that happens. That happens too. But it's more about that they'll also buy the item because they believe that its popularity means it's good. That's the concern I have more.
Because I'm just wondering, like, if the rate reduction, I understand that like makes it so that it moves product more, but I would be interested to actually see if we could add metrics to see like how much that actually influences the amount of sales, to where it would influence the best seller kind of category after they've changed the price. That's fair. Yeah, that could lead to more regret purchases. That's interesting. No, that was the thing that people game.
Well, it's like the old classified system. I mean, you guys have a very different income coming from classifieds compared to back in the early 2000s, because people's stores like their legacy now, but when they were Armady and a few other stores, Lack used to do it as well when they were Raspberry and Cow, they would pay like $100,000 a week for classifieds to be listed in classifieds, and you had a whole half of Second Life purchasing power that went into that, because people believed that if they could spend that money, they were making that money. If they were making that money, then there must be the most popular store. So that seems to be what best selling is kind of doing now. It sort of reeks of that. If they're in the best selling page, then everybody loves them, so I should buy that too.
Mm-hmm.
When it's gained
popularity index.
Yeah, it just seems wrong.
So Sarah hit on something that we've been talking about internally, the 96 items per page thing. We've got it set to default 96 items per page because we were under the impression that people wanted to see everything, but that's a lot of images to load. So we've been talking about cutting that in half. What do y'all think about is 96 too many items per page? Do you have a?
I think that it should be up to the person, but when it used to be smaller, it was better. You got to choose 96. Well, it used to be 100, didn't it? Or something. But yeah, making the choice yourself as the type of person that you are is a better decision. I think Sarah's right. It's very overwhelming for some people to just keep scrolling forever.
Yeah, you can still choose for yourself. We just default to 96, and we were thinking about defaulting to the middle number instead.
I think it's a good idea.
As long as the 96 option still remains an option, I see no harm in changing the default option to the middle option. Is that 48 per page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see no harm in changing that. It also makes the 96 item option vaster by comparison, rather than step down being the only option.
My heart started palpitating at the thought.
It's never worth it, technically speaking. Pagination is great, and I don't think we'll move away from that at any point.
I think pages are amazing too. It's really funny how your your brain takes stuff like that. Like you'll see the page and it'll be like 112 and you're like, holy smokes, that store's been committed to content. Or versus, they've got 4. Oh, they must be a newer store. And then you look up to the left to see when they joined. It's all very, interesting how we take it into account. I think a lot of the times the 96 comes in handy when it's a demo, a fat pack, and 27 colors singularly listed.
Absolutely.
Page loading is too slow, Sarah is saying, and I don't disagree. We want to work on speed some. 48 items per page should help page loading being too slow. But we've heard from somebody, we've got a couple of cannies in that say things like, I want to look at every item on the marketplace all at once. Not necessarily on the same page, but they would like to just be able to page through everything in the marketplace, which I don't have that kind of time in my life. So I kind of want to hear from you merchants and shoppers and web user group aficionados. Like, would you rather have search terms returned closer to the top of the page? Do you have times when you want to just be able to go through every single thing ever in a category? What's your, do you have a completionist streak that strong?
I want the categories reassessed completely, because hair is not an accessory. It's one of the best-selling items in Second Life overall. Hair is so popular, and you've got it nested in accessories. How would a new user think that hair was an accessory?
I think that it would potentially, so we're talking about getting the categories more regularly reassessed, and the question is, who could own that? So I feel like this would be a great thing if we had a person who talked to residents regularly to run this idea by people. But I wonder if there are. Yeah, I figured you might.
I think maybe we need like an avatar category, and then within that the body parts,
right,
and then
yep,
clothing as a separate part from that as well.
Yeah, I think body parts would include hair, at least, if you're gonna,
Yeah.
There's so many body parts now. The thighs add-ons, feet add-ons, adult genitalia adults, add-ons.
And then you've got like overrides, so for prosthetic legs, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Would all be under.
And you could even have humanoid body parts versus, others, sci-fi and fantasy body parts, or body parts could come, even include the furry range and things like that. So yeah, it could be nested, but it'd have to make sense. And hair is just so ridiculously buried that it's really frustrating to help people actually find hair.
Keep telling us how you use Marketplace. Rocky, you've got a question about listing updates versus item last updated, the text on the page. We have a ticket in to work on that, but I don't think we've fixed it yet. There have been some more urgent things to get out the door. The value that we had available to us already plumbed through to the metadata in the UI appears to be a number that changes when an item was purchased, which is not great. So we didn't do enough research before we put that on the page, and we're going to look at other better dates to show there that don't change in as dumb ways.
Would there be a possibility of doing kind of a picture-in-picture option for the actual thumbnails of listings? Like sometimes these stores, as we said, they might have 27 colors available, but they use the same image for all 27 colors, and yet one is blue and one is pink. If you were able to nest a swatch of color in like a picture in a picture that appears when it's in thumbnail mode, then you would very easily see, oh, that's the one I need to click for it because I like that blue or I like that pink, rather than going all the way to the page.
I mean, that is a merchant question at the moment, but in the future, we still want to get back to styles. So
Right, yeah, true. I mean, styles is the end game. That would be awesome. You know, it's another thought, and I really don't understand why you don't run with it, because, I mean, Marketplace was a purchase. You bought it from X Street, and you've been sort of patching it and fixing it and adding to it ever since, and great jobs in good achievements. But have you ever considered just starting Marketplace 2.0 and letting and not getting rid of the one we have, but letting people list newer items and then redirecting them to older if the customers are interested until everything sort of catches up, and then you get to do styles and you get to do all those things because it's new?
yeah, so we do talk about stuff like that regularly. Imagine, if you will. In fact, you don't have to imagine. We've got Sarah here. So there's some cool thing that is from a vendor that doesn't Second Life anymore, but it's still available on their marketplace store. At some point, users would be pretty sad if we didn't move those items over for the non-active vendors. So that's always a...
Oh, no, but that's what I mean. You could still have the art. You could still have the old marketplace. I would never want to eliminate it because of that exact reason. But it means that
Oh, Sassy, there's no way we can operate two marketplaces indefinitely. Okay. Y'all all need to bring 5 friends in and keep them in, like tie them to their computers and have them spend money if you want us to have 2 marketplaces running indefinitely.
God.
OnRes ran for years, and OnRes was superior. I wish you'd bought OnRes, not X Street, to be fair. OnRes was incredible. They had all the features that we wanted, and then it took another, 10 years to get them on X Street.
On the topic of third-party marketplaces, would it be possible with for example, a REST API that somebody could query and then fetch the data, have like a third-party user interface as sort of like a third-party marketplace, but relying on data directly from the marketplace through an API?
We've talked about that. It's not a thing that we can technically do right now. It's something that we've talked about. I'm nervous that if we built in that direction, that then we would have marketplace fragmentation the same way that we've got viewer fragmentation.
Right.
And that there would be exploits that we weren't expecting and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I just thought it would somehow be sort of easier to see the vision of all these ideas and not have the other baggage. So what is the point of the icons? Sorry, because that's come in since I've been away.
I don't know. We don't have a designer here. I can't answer that question for you.
Because I'm trying to work out, is the flag the icon for land because of, I declare this in the name of Queen Elizabeth? Like, is that what it's supposed to be? Or America got to the moon first kind of situation, or whatever it was?
I don't know. I really don't. We got a design. We built the design. Maybe I should have asked more questions.
Like the services icon, like giving someone your heart.
Yeah, that looks very a charity icon. It's like somebody got a bag of icons and thought, this might fit here. This will fit here.
Yeah, some of the categories do seem like they could be either taken away or made as subcategories of something else.
Yeah, they just ran out of icons.
So on an unrelated topic, sorry, last meeting, somebody brought up the discussion of potentially previewing the item for sale in the browser itself, sort of like
Yeah,
3D asset preview kind of thing.
yeah, that was me.
Has that been discussed further, or is there any
Not-
news on?
No internal news on that. I mean, it's something that we have talked about before. It's even on the product folks wish list that we have like a try on button.
Right.
But we have not scoped or spec'd that as like the next hot thing.
Right. Okay.
You know how in the past we've talked about making sure that AI was clearly defined and stuff like that in marketplace listings? I was thinking about how you have this section down the bottom left, and I thought that would be the perfect use for that, where when you list your product, if you check box AI, it would go into that section that when you exclude AI, if you want to exclude AI, it would mean those items that have been checkboxed wouldn't come through. Also, while we're at it, we could also add the option there for mesh, because you got us listing and using a checkbox that says it's 100% mesh, but it doesn't actually have an outcome when you're listing. So you've got people accidentally still buying system layers and sculpties because they don't know Second Life enough yet, which is fine now that we've got BOM, but it wasn't their intention.
Yes, so we do talk about adding additional filters to the search. We'll have to, letting merchants, we'd be happy to let merchants self-report that AI was used in the creation of a product. And we would be happy to add that to marketplace search filters. It's going to take a little bit of time. We'll have to get it planned and scheduled and make time for people to work on it.
It definitely would, Juniper. No, Sarah, no.
On the topic of identifying AI-assisted products on the marketplace, there is currently a Kine with several hundred upvotes regarding some form of identifier on the marketplace.
We think that using an identifier, like an AI to look for other AI, is kind of a game of cat and mouse. Self-reporting, merchant self-reporting, and the users complaining about things that they're pretty sure are AI feels like the best way to go. Because, imagine if our thing that checks to see if you used AI said that you did, but you didn't, but maybe your item was the thing that trained. You'd be ticked at us. There's not really a winning stance for us there.
But would there be potential for a button for people who specifically would like to self-report per se? Me personally, I utilize a lot of AI tools, and I know it has a certain characteristic to it that certain people might want and certain people might want to avoid. I would personally prefer.
That's what I was just talking about, that you could self-report. You in the merchant view, we could add a merchant has self-reported that AI was used in this in some way. We haven't done any of the speccing out of that project, I feel like y'all would like for Marketplace to crash less before we add that. But
I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry, but I don't agree. I think that Marketplace runs really well. It doesn't crash that much that you'd want one over the other. I think that getting AI segmented in there would be at the top of a lot of people's lists.
With how warm of a topic that AI currently is, I would see it beneficial for the 15 minutes of development it would take to install such a button, for sure.
Well, we could put in the button, but then we have to pipe the button to the UI, and then we have to re-index the marketplace to make it usable in search, and it's more than 15 minutes. When you say just, and when you say easy, and when you say 15 minutes about anything at Linden, it makes us cry inside.
I'm very sorry.
That being added to, then I would actually request that there's a series of buttons for AI, because some people might be using AI to help them create the script that's in the item, but the mesh is 100% original, the textures are 100% original, blah blah blah, and then it might be that they've used a mesh creation for the AI, or they might have had some help creating a completely approved texture motif that was not stealing from anything, but AI was involved. So a sort of like texture script mesh box for each category. So you then could make the decision that, oh, if the mesh is all theirs, I don't really care that somebody, a computer coded it or whatever, scripted it, and you get to make that decision. Like, do it more than later it backfiring. Right. Yeah, I think that it's more important to make sure, because just quick example, years ago there was a whole thing about content creators being above board and making their own creations, and some hair people got not allowed through that group because they purchased their textures. But back in the day it was really hard to make good hair textures, so they relied on that, but everything else was their own creation. And I had to have a talk with that group and say, you can't gatekeep them on texture purchases. So it's sort of the same thing. You don't want to fire and pitchfork people because they used AI for a script or something.
Okay. I mean, that's all very good and useful information. I'm thinking about the roadmaps for the next little while. I'll take that information back to planning.
Quick canny question. I was looking through those, since Sarah mentioned the web map, I was looking through those 3 canny posts that I had brought up at one point. This one, I was double checking it. It still says tracked, but when I check the 2 comparison URLs that I included in the canny post, it looks like it now works. So maybe that was fixed, but the canny post just wasn't updated.
That is entirely likely. We try to go through our cannies often. For the web and marketplace bugs and features, we try to go through them weekly. And we thought that the cannies stayed linked to their GitHub issue counterparts, but that does not always appear to stay linked.
Yeah, because that does seem like it may have been fixed based on the comparison I'm doing with the URLs.
Cool. Okay. Well, wonderful. We can mark that one as closed.
A free progress, free update.
Yeah. There's somebody is currently looking at the problem where when you look at your friends list, if your friend has given you the ability to teleport to their location, the link is broken if they're on a region with a space in it. So that should be fixed pretty soon as well.
I'm not even sure if this is your area, but would there ever be a way of, sorry, you know how in Destination Guide it shows you how many people are on a region? Has that ever been considered to be part of the search thing? Like, we've got traffic numbers, but wouldn't people on the region also be a really cool sort of feature as well when looking at search?
Traffic, say that, sorry, I was trying to do two things at once and I'm bad at that. Ask one more time, Sassy.
No problem. In the destination guide, some of the areas that you might be interested in visiting will show a count of how many avatars are actually on the region at the time. But we don't seem to have that facility in World where it tells you, unless it's in the web user search. I'm not sure, because I use Firestorm and I use Places because I can't stand the web search. But I just thought that would be kind of a cool thing if, when you open up search, if it shows you how many people are on a region in real time instead of just the traffic numbers.
That is not my area.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was the web area.
Right. No, if you're not using web search, then it's not my area. Firestorm uses legacy search, so.
I'm not interested in it on the map because that means you're honing in on one place. I'm just like, if you typed in that you were looking for a club in search and all the clubs listed, it always shows you their traffic. But it'd be really cool if it said 15 people, 11 people, 27 people, 3 people, and then you decide where you want to teleport to. Sorry, Hannah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, Firestorm, we don't have a thing about, and search, we don't have a thing about for web. So there are a lot of places where I think that occupancy would be very interesting to people. There are a lot of things where I think that we should have the maturity ratings piped all the way through everywhere consistently. I think we like the way that Luke does maturity ratings on prim feeds, but yeah.
That's really cute that you say that, because I'm sure Luke has like 3 grey hairs that he could call maturity ratings on Primfeed.
Only 3.
It's on the left side, the right side's a whole other story. The maturity rating on Marketplace is a hot mess. People just hope they don't get reported, I think. And then you've got the others that are extremists. They think because it's a bikini, it should be adult. And you're like, you don't need to be an adult, honey. It's like you're losing sales by putting it in adult.
They're losing sales, apparently.
A level above adult? Oh my god. I don't even want to know what would be in there.
Well, half of Marketplace would be in there. Because adult was just supposed to be, your bits are uncovered, and then Adult Plus would be the fetish super extra.
Oh no.
Super extra.
Super
It's
duper
interesting.
extra. There's a product that has. There is a product in Second Life that puts a hobbit house in your bottom. So let's not even go there.
How does... I don't even want to know.
Sorry, Eric, I was just finishing.
Oh, no, it's okay. I had a question for Kali, actually, that was related to sort of not marketplace, but another web property.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something that would actually, like the auctions page, I was thinking like the places.secondlife.com/auctions. Is there any, has there been any talk of trying to do something similar to sort of, what's the word for this? I can't think, to sort of surface listings for not only auctions but also land rentals or lands for sale in a similar way, or is that sort of beyond?
Not in the auctions page, like...
Or not specifically that, but like a similar sort of listing.
Yeah, so land rentals and land for sale is available in...
Can you sit up straight, please?
Is available...
Trying to get comfy.
On the web search, but I think it's kind of confusing on web search. So...
Yeah.
We are always talking about ways to make that better as well.
Yeah, because I know that like even within the world map, sort of, you can check, of course, and see land for sale.
You guys not talk over each other?
And in, you know, I know there's some people who wind up putting their land for sale at extremely high prices just to sort of not to sell it, but to let people know that, hey, there's land there and it might be for rent. I know this is sort of a viewer thing, but if you could have something where...
Stop interrupting the fairy.
Thank you.
I thought that was a pinata.
Yeah, Eric, this is a good idea. So,
how's the talking stick right now?
Eric, I agree that we should definitely have a page for land for sale listings. I don't know when we could get to that. Again, it's a brand new application that we'd have to work into the roadmap, but it's not a bad idea, and it fits into some of the overall goals as well. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I request something?
You can wait your turn.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know when it's my turn. I'm very eager to ask my question.
Okay. Finish up, Eric. Go.
Oh, no, I think I was done. Oh no, I was basically just saying to Rocky, yeah, I don't think marketplace would be maybe the right place for it, but since we already have sort of an auctions page on the places.sl sort of subdomain, that might be an interesting place to have a sort of listing for land sales and land rentals. Sorry, now it's your turn, whoever it was.
Oh yeah, that would be me.
Yawning.
Have a good rest of your day.
So sorry that it went to that. Have a lovely day.
No,
Thanks, Lindens.
Thanks, folks.
Did somebody put down my country? That's really funny. Anybody that puts down a place that started... That's right. Because we're... Okay. Alright. We made really good of a convict nation.